Level 82. First thing we can start with is the outer rows and columns. So this one has one wall. In order to separate the crystals, that wall has to be here. And it's the same thing in the bottom row. See, anything else would create a connection between this and one of these. So we have the same situation in the outer columns. And let's see here. We need to make some separations here between bombs. This has to be connected to these. There needs to be separation here. And in these places. Now these bombs have to hit these bunnies, etc. And these bombs have to hit these bunnies. Now, the remaining clusters of bombs and bunnies, they have to be connected. Yeah. So these crystals have to be connected to these clusters. So now all crystals are connected, and so are all bombs and bunnies. And that means the rest of the job is to separate the zones. So there needs to be separation here. Similarly, here, here, and here. Need separation here, 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 and here, as well as here, and here, here, and here, here, and here. So now this is gray. This is gray. So is this and this. Now we need separation here. And now this is gray. Similarly, we need walls here and here. So this is gray. You see this column is gray. This is gray. So we need walls here and here. Here and here. Let's see, this row can be filled in with walls. So can this. And there are two spaces left which have to be walls. Level 83. This column is filled in with walls. Looking at this row, there are 4 more walls. That's not enough to separate these from all these. That means this crystal is connected to this. Therefore, we need walls here. Of course, we need walls here as well. And this row is gray. And now we need walls here. There's one wall in this column. It needs to be somewhere here in one of these. Therefore, these are not walls. This row has one more wall, which needs to be somewhere here. Therefore, not here. And the same in this row. Wall must be here somewhere. Therefore, not here. And it's the same here. A wall somewhere here. So therefore, not here and not here. This column is one more wall, which needs to be in one of these. Can't be here or here. This row is gray. So now we need walls here and here. Now this is gray. So is this. And this. So now we need walls to separate these. This is gray. In these two columns, there's one wall left in each. That wall has to be here and here. So these are not walls. And we need to separate these. So these have to be walls. Now this is gray. There has to be a wall here. That grays out this column. And now we can fill out these 3 rows. The rest must be walls. And yeah, with these columns, one of these, as I said, have to be a wall. So these are not walls. So now we see these 3 rows also have to be filled in with walls. Now we see these are grayed out. And this has one more wall, which has to be here. So now this is gray. And now we need walls here, 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 and here. And we see the final space has to be empty. Level 84. This is grayed out. So the equation here is 2x plus 4y equals 10. Possible solutions are x equals 1, y equals 2, or x equals 3, y equals 1, x equals 5, y equals 0. Looking at this x, it can have 1, 2, or 3 targets, which means the possible solutions are x equals 1, y equals 2, or x equals 3, y equals 1. Let's assume the solution is x equals 3, y equals 1. Then this x would have to hit these 3. This x would have to hit these 3. But that means this y bomb has 0 targets, which means it can't be, because y, if x equals 3, y has to be 1. So that can't be. The only other solution is x equals 1, y equals 2. So now we know that. So this bunny can be hit by this y bomb and this one. Since y equals 2, it has to be hit by this one. And now this bunny can only be hit by this bomb. This bunny must be hit by this one. There's one wall in this column that has to separate these bombs. So this X can at most hit one bunny, and this Y can at most hit one more bunny. That means the wall has to be here, because it can't be here or here. That means this is empty space. That means this bomb cannot hit this bunny, which has to be hit by this bomb. Now we see This crystal is connected to all this. And we see that there are 2 walls left in this column. So that tells me this has to be connected to this crystal, because there aren't enough walls left to separate. So that means this crystal cannot be connected to this. So these have to be walls, and that grays out this column. Then we see this bomb has 2 targets and can't hit any more. That means this bunny has to be hit by this bomb, and the final bunny has to be hit by this bomb. And now, as before, there's only 1 wall left in this column. That wall has to separate these 2. It grays out this, and we can see that everything is connected to this crystal except this here. So we need to have a wall here, and in order, and yeah, that grays out this. In order for us to not box in this crystal, this has to be empty. And now we need to separate this zone from the rest. So we must have walls here and here. So now this column is grayed out. And this has to be a wall, and this column is grayed out. This row has 2 walls, which must be here. This is gray. This row has 4 more walls, which must be here. This row has 3 more walls, must be here. This is gray. This row has 2 more walls. Now this is gray. And this must be a wall. And we can fill in this column with walls. So now this is gray. There's 1 space left, which has to be a wall. Level 85. Okay, this is a big board. How can we start? Well, this row has 1 wall. It needs to connect to a wall to separate these. So it can't be here or here, right? Because if it's here, then you would have a line of empty spaces connecting these 2. So that can't be. More fruitful. This column has 1 wall. That wall needs to separate all of these crystals, which means it has to be here, because otherwise you would have a line here or a line here, right? So that must be a wall. And we have the same here. So now that grays out those columns. And we have a bit of a start. So now this is connected to this crystal and this to this crystal. So we need separation here. And it's the same on this side. So now we have more gray columns. And of course, we can't block in these crystals. We need to have some empty spaces. And since this bomb is connected to this crystal, it can't connect to this one. So this must be a wall. This bunny can only be hit by this bomb. So the wall on this row must separate these zones. It can't be here or here. It's the same down here. The wall can't be here or here. These zones can't be connected. So this bomb can't hit this bunny. Wall somewhere here. That means that this bomb has to hit this bunny. And this one, this bunny is hit by this bomb. So we need walls here. And we have the same here. This bunny can't be hit by this bomb. So we need a connection here. And a connection here. And we need walls here and here. That means this bomb hits this bunny. This bomb hits this bunny. And we need a wall here. This row is gray, and so is this. This column can be filled in with walls. And now this row is gray. This column has two more walls. They need to be in either of these spaces. So they can't be here. This is grayed out. This needs to be a wall to separate here. That grays out this row. Now we see this has to be a wall, separate these. And that grays out this row. Now this is grayed out. That means we need a wall here to separate. We also need a wall here. So now this is gray. And there needs to be one wall in this column that separates this, this, and this. So that must be here, graying out this column. Now we need a wall here and a wall here. This is grayed out. This row has two more walls. This column can be filled in with walls. And so can this. Now this is gray. And this. This is gray. This has to be a wall. This can be filled in with walls. So can this. This is gray. This is gray. Two more walls on this row. Two more walls on this row. Two more spaces, which must be empty. Level 86. So we have 4 crystals, which are already connected to bombs. And we have an unconnected cluster of bombs here, which has to connect to one and only one of these crystals. In this row, there's one wall. It has to separate these two, so it has to be one of these. Can't be here or here. The same down here. One of these is a wall. One of these is not. Or none of these are, I should say. One of these is a wall. So not these. And the same here. One of these two has to be a wall. That tells me first that these can't be walls. Also tells me that one of these crystals is connected to this here, which means that these crystals are not connected to it. So we need walls here and here. So now this is gray. This is gray. The wall in this row must be here, or else we have connection here or here. So this is a wall, and that grays out the row. Now each of these rows has one wall. In order to separate, they must be somewhere here. It could be a diagonal here, or it could be straight down, or something. That means this can't be a wall, neither can these or these. And of course, now we see that this is connected to this, which means we need separation here and here. Now this is gray. This is gray. The wall in this column must be somewhere here to separate these. In other words, it can't be down here. Let's see, one of these must be a wall. Let's see, these columns, one wall each, they must separate these. So this can't be a wall. Let's see, what if this is a wall, then you can't have separation, so this must be a wall. That grays out the column. The walls in these columns can't be here because they must separate these. This can't be a wall because that would make a connection here. And that means we can fill in this column with walls. That means these are gray. This can't be a wall because that would make a connection here. This is grayed out now. The final wall in this column must be here then. So that grays out this. We can fill in this row with walls. That grays out these columns. We must have a wall here, graying out this column. This is gray. This is gray. There's one more space left, and that has to be a wall.